Let me conclude by saying this, and why again, and I'm not here just to flatter you, but I believe this from the bottom of my heart. The work that you do and your involvement in the political process is, enormously important. And this is why. Number one, in terms of campaigns, I'm kind of an old-fashioned type politician like many of you. And I should tell you that in my last campaign, where I did well, we spent, you know how much money I spent on 30-second TV ads? Nothing, not a penny. Didn't put a nickel into TV. What we did is put our money into grassroots organizing. We ended up with 71% of the vote. So I believe in that. I believe in that. But the second thing I believe, and I believe this very sincerely, I happen to have a lot of affection and respect for President Obama as a friend. And he was kind enough. President Obama was kind enough when he was a senator and I was running for office in 2006. He came to Vermont, had a huge turnout. And I think history will treat him a lot more kindly than his contemporaries do. Because I think people do not appreciate, if you can move back a little bit. Do not appreciate what he inherited. When he came to office, we were losing 800, Republicans say we're not growing enough jobs. Well, it's true. But when Bush left office, we were losing 800,000 jobs a month. I'd rather grow 250,000 than lose 800,000. All right? My Republican friends who are so very worried about the deficit, when Bush left office, we had the largest deficit in the history of America, $1.4 trillion. We've reduced that by 2/3. Not bad. When Bush left office, the financial system was on the verge of collapse. Now I would argue that maybe Wall Street is doing too well. But we have made real progress in the last 6 years under Obama's leadership. But let me say this, where I disagree with the president. I think history will record, and all of you, or many of you, played an extraordinary role in this process. That when the president won, when Obama won in 2008, he put together an extraordinary campaign. It was one of the great campaigns in American history. He did something which is enormously difficult. He got young people involved. He got working people involved. He got old people involved. And by the way, in the middle of all that, your small state played the leading role. Congratulations to you. But here is the criticism. The criticism is that after putting together this strong grassroots movement, after he was elected, he kind of forgot about that movement. And he had the mistaken idea that he could sit down and negotiate with John Boehner and the others. And he couldn't. So people ask me, how do we go forward and raise the minimum wage? How do we make college affordable? How do we deal with healthcare? How do we deal with our infrastructure and create jobs? The only way that I know how to do that any president can do it, is when millions of people are actively involved in the political process. Can't be done otherwise. And I say to the young people who are struggling under the student debt and the high cost of college, if you want to lower the cost of college and student debt, you bring 1 million of your friends to Washington, D.C., and you will succeed very, very quickly. But if 80% of young people do not vote, as was the case in this last election, I guarantee you, nobody will pay attention to your debt. They'll worry more about Koch brother funding. And that's what we have to do. Any president who is trying to fight for working families against the big money interest needs the active support of millions of people.